Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WarrenThornton.com to a very, very long show indeed. Good evening and welcome to WarrenThornton.com. And the first thing that we have to say is that we have a correction for you. We were told that the gas plant was actually hit. The Russians are now claiming that they hit an aircraft repair plant, which is just up the road from where the gas plant is. Now, the geolocation supports what the Russians are saying. The Ukrainians are still saying that they've hit the gas and oil terminal. I would tend to believe the Russians, so we wanted to make absolutely certain. So we put a couple of feelers out. Our initial report was from the Ukrainians who said, or our Ukrainian source who had said that they'd hit the gas and oil plant. And of course, that's where they are storing most of the, should we say, the supplies for Ukraine and the EU. And in fact, gas supplies have fallen through the floor in Lvov. Now, whether that's being drained off for somebody else and the Ukrainians are lying, I don't see any reason why the Russians would lie. And given that there wasn't a massive explosion, I would say that the Russians are probably right. But we'll make absolutely certain of our facts. Both of those areas are now shut off. So whether they've hit both, I don't know. But if they have hit that plant, then of course, that is not an escalation. In fact, it's quite a weak response compared to what is being done there. And of course, they have hit the plant, which is right next to, and they said that they have taken the plant out, which is right next to the gas and oil. Now, if they are basically saying it's this place, then of course, that is not right next door. It's just a bit up the road. So we'll get that all cleared up for you, and we'll be able to come back and tell you everything that is going on. There are loads of other things that are going on. And of course, many of them are very, very troubling indeed. Iran have hit back at the USA for the USA trying to overthrow their government. Now, if anybody's not aware of what the USA have been up to and Israel, they were funding people left, right, center to try and overthrow the actual government of Iran. It hasn't worked, so they've got to go on with the strikes. Now, here's where the problem is that Iran have actually turned around and said that if they do get hit, then they're going to hit them back very, very hard indeed. This is Donald Trump's response to this.
Iran said that they would consider military and commercial bases as legitimate targets if you struck. Are you concerned about?
If they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it.
Do you think
I have options that are so strong. So I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
I want to say, Caroline Leavitt in the background, look quite nervous, I've got to say. And of course, Iran have responded.
از میلیون ها زن و مرد ایرانی به رئیس جمهور متوهم و متکبر آمریکا میگویم که ما ملت ایران همان حرف حاج قاسم عزیزمان را به تو میزنیم. ای ترامپ قمارباز، ما حریف توییم. تو سردار مقاومت را شهید کردی که به اصطلاح مقاومت را نابود کنی. اما امروز همان مکتب مقاومت تبدیل به یک جریان جهانی شده و دشمن اسرائیلی را بیچاره کرده. امروز حتی در پایتخت سیاسی آمریکا با شعارهای ضد اسرائیلی در انتخابات به پیروزی میرسند. ما با تأسی از سردار شهیدمان، سرداری که مایه افتخار ایرانیان است، به تو میگوییم ما ملت امام حسینیم، ما منتظریم، ما مرد میدان برای تو هستیم. بیا تا ببینی همه امکانات شما در منطقه نابود می شود. بیا تا ببینی چه بلایی بر سر پایگاه‌های آمریکایی و کشتی‌های آمریکایی و نیروهای آمریکایی در خواهد آمد. بیا تا با آتش مدافعان ایران چنان بسوزی که درس عبرت برای همیشه تاریخ حاکم ظالم آمریکا شود. این حاکمان ظالم را ادب خواهیم کرد. بیا تا بفهمی که وقتی منطقه به آتش کشیده شود با چه تبعات سنگینی روبرو خواهی شد. ترامپ متوهم، دروغ‌هایی که به تو میگویند باور نکن. به تو گفته بودند مشهد سقوط کرده، ولی مریدان امام رضا علیه السلام ایستادند تا پاسخ توهمات تو را بدهند. ما از خون مردمانمان، از خون دانشمندانمان و سردارانمان نخواهیم گذشت. شنیده ایم ایران را تهدید کرده ای. بدان مدافعان ایران درسی فراموش نشدنی به تو خواهند داد و اخرى تو.
Nicholas.
Well, as you can see, there were masses of people there. I think there have been massive, big rallies all across Iran today, Monday. And but I've put my hand up. I was going to say, inquiring about this alliance that they've got with China. And I think you're saying something that China's even offering them troops.
Yes.
Is that's still valid?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me read you exactly what the Chinese have said. This is Mao Ning, and she has turned around and said, as far as we are concerned, we are here for Iran. It is obvious that they are a malicious actor, that America are a malicious actor on the stage. China trusts that the US do not want to see Chinese troops or military or any other form of help that we offer to the Iranians. So it seems, Nilis, as though this is absolutely the case. And of course, they're going to, as far as China are concerned, they will give them weapons, including, obviously not nukes, but will give them any weapons or assistance they require.
Yeah, I'm sure China's very up in electronic warfare, I would have thought.
Yes.
Because, I would have thought the Iranians would want something to block the American satellites. And
well, they've also let's not forget here that they've also turned around and said that they're threatening their shipping. And the one thing you don't want to see is obviously this: the USS Glug Glug. The picture of that going around the world would be incredibly embarrassing for America. Should they get an aircraft carrier sunk or whatever. And from our understanding, that the Chinese have the capability to do that. Therefore, if Iran asks for those sort of weapons, because here's the thing, Nilis, the coup has now failed. The internal coup they tried to do with NGOs and everything else has completely failed. In fact, they've managed to arrest some of the ringleaders, which is quite amazing. They've not only killed a few, but they've managed to arrest them as well. So the game is up. Everybody has turned around and gone, hey, what's going on here? And everybody's quite sure that this, of course, has happened. And, of course, Trump is saying that yes, a hypersonic missile would be the way. Trump is saying that the Iranians called them. The Iranians are saying we did not.
find out pretty soon.
You said that help is
There we are. So they're saying they called them. Iran saying no, they didn't. Robert.
I believe it was on Judge Napolitano's thing today with the retired English diplomat. I forget his name, but he said that the Russians had helped the Iranians with technical know-how of tracing the Mossad agents in Iran by the Starlink
Yes.
connection.
Yes.
And so they were just identifying them and then nailing them. And I think, and they're going to be executed in public on Wednesday, I believe.
Yes. And of course, they're saying this is going to happen. You're absolutely right. Everybody is turning around and saying this can't possibly happen and all the rest of it. Yes, it can. We're about to be joined by James Rossi. Let's just get James on the show. 2 seconds here. Let's pull him on to promote him to panelists. There we go, James, as soon as you're ready. And we will make him a co-host. There we go. He should be with us any second now. So very simply, what we've got. Hello, James. How are you?
Hi, I do apologise for being 10 minutes late. I'm so sorry, Warren.
That's okay. Take 300 lines. I must not be late. I have them on my desk by Monday morning. How are you, James? Are you well?
I'm okay. I'm okay. To be honest, it's a miracle I made it. They're digging up just about every single hole approaching my house.
We were just having a chat, and I want to get your opinion on this. Robert was talking some common sense as well about the executions that might take place. I just want to show you this very, very quickly because this is something that we've been saying for ages. That Israel and America have put people through the Zangezur corridor, that little corridor in the north of Iran between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And of course, that is being run by American mercs. And there's a lot of, shall we say, Arab, Saudi Arabian backed groups, American money and Israel money into this overthrow. And we want to show everybody this because this is literally Iran forces storming a house where they found people who the Iranian intelligence raided a Mossad terrorist safe house in Yasu and arrested several armed militants in a surprise operation. Captured terrorists confessed, "I was influenced and completely unaware. I was taken advantage of by them. We were deceived." Let's have a listen. So it appears, James, they have found flamethrowers, Kalashnikovs, and grenades, which we said that they had that have made their way through Afghanistan.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw the video of a protester firing a homemade flamethrower, shall we say, the first immediate thought was that the CIA who gave that to you, or was that Mossad? Because it's just so obvious. And the fact that, Mossad haven't hidden it. Mossad have said they've got agents on the ground, NGOs, and so have the CIA. And that's why Trump has basically said, if you kill the protesters, we're going to bomb you, because they're not Iranian. They're outsiders. And some of them are probably American as well.
Yeah, it is a massive thing, of course. And we are going to play this one more time. Apologies for this, because if you are new to the show, and everybody has seen this who is a regular on the show, so I apologize to you for playing it one more time. But here's just a potted history of exactly how this has been carried out. So there we are, James. It looks as though very much that's where it's come from. The group suddenly acquired $2.5 million out of nowhere. And of course, that seems to be the case, that they've used that money to purchase weapons that were left behind in Afghanistan. Now, I think it's a bit of a stretch, maybe, that they were left there on purpose, but you can't count anything out where the CIA is concerned, can you?
No, you can't. You can't. Whether they were left, I mean, I think the way they pulled out, I think a lot of the weapons were left there on purpose. They just pulled out. I don't understand why they did it like that, but they did. But I do possibly believe that the thought process was, well, they may come in handy at a later date. And I don't think the Americans felt that there was any real threat from those insurgents having those weapons, because let's be honest, the Taliban were using the US before, weren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be working for them, aren't they? So it's not going to be a problem.
Look, the Taliban will work with whoever is going to support them and finance them. And you'll find that with a lot of these Islamist groups across the Middle East. You look at the guy in charge of Syria now. Now, he was financed covertly through various channels by Western secret services, shall we say, CIA, etc., etc. Had a $4 million bounty on his head, but now all of a sudden he's leader of Syria. So, you know, these people aren't really Islamic extremists. They're people who are out for the highest bidder, and whoever's going to give them the best deal.
So I'm going to ask you a question now, because it appears, and of course, X is very much along the lines of supporting Israel. Elon Musk was giving them Starlink. As soon as that was cut off, it appeared very much as though everything went to pot then, once the Starlink was shut off. Now we have information that they were actually blocking the internet apart from Starlink. They actually had, they were blocking Iran's internet. And of course, the Chinese warned Iran that this would happen again, as they did the first time when they struck Iran. And of course, they were blocking the internet apart from Starlink, which seems very, very obvious, doesn't it? But it is quite amazing. And I'm going to just quickly run through here. If we go onto social media, the nonsense, I mean, you just go through, scroll through X, and you've got, is the world going to sit back? Sarah Vine, everything. Andrew Pierce, this is a Berlin Wall moment, gut-wrenching footage, grieving families in Iran, wailing. The trouble is, half of these were shot by people who were nowhere, who shouldn't have anything. Dixoff, of course, the wonderfully named Netherlander, Dixoff, turned around and said the regime in Iran is cracking down on all forms of protest. It's cracking down on all the idiots. Ian Duncan Smith, Britain must do more to take down the Ayatollah's enforcers. Lindsey Graham's all over the place. Tommy Robinson, Lara Logan, Glenn. I mean, it is just, the feed it's relentless propaganda, James.
It is propaganda, but you see, look, I'm going to be honest, and if you're Iranian and you're listening, I do apologise, but I don't really care, particularly who's in charge of your country. It's your country. It's nothing to do with me. It's in the Middle East. So I'm not particularly interested in regime change one way or the other. So let me just tell you, I've got a neutral stance there, straight off, yeah. So I'm not a big fan of the Ayatollah, but then I'm not somebody who hates him. I'm neutral on it. The problem you've got, and this is going to be a problem, and mark my words, if you overthrow the Ayatollah, if you overthrow the regime of Iran, and you put a westernized Shah back in, right? Now, let's remember, he was very popular before, was he not? No.
They did that before, yeah.
Yeah. You are going to have another country that's wrecked, in a mess, because obviously America and Israel are going to bomb it back to the Stone Age. You're going to have a mass influx of people that want to leave the country because there's no jobs there, there's no economy, there's no life there, there's nothing. And the people that are in charge, that are supposedly the democracy, which will be pro-Western, in other words, give all the oil away and do everything the West says, are going to treat the people like absolute, to be blunt, shit. And we're going to end up picking up the tab, me and you, the taxpayer, because they've got to come here as refugees. I'm not for this at all. I don't agree with it at all. Leave the country alone. Bugger off.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got another. I don't know whether you caught it. Of course, there are still people posting this. Let me get this absolutely straight here. there are still posting about this woman who is a freedom. Oh, that's the wrong one. About this woman who was a freedom fighter for the Canadians. Sorry, for Iran. And it turns out she's a Canadian Israeli. And there are people still posting this idiotic woman burning a picture of the Ayatollah, saying this is a very brave woman out in the streets of Iran. She's actually on the streets of Toronto burning that picture.
Yeah, well, it's propaganda again, isn't it, Warren? You know how it is. They are desperate. I do personally believe that there will be a conflict between America, Israel, and Iran probably within the next week, possibly weeks. It's going in that direction, unless something drastically changes, but that's where we're going.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I can't see it getting any better, to be honest. Something else, as I say, I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to Iran. Now, they've been very, very bullish. And we've got a video here showing some of the stuff that has happened. And just have a little look at this, because many people will turn around and go, oh, you know, it's not that bad and this, that and the other. They're freedom fighters. No, they're not. This was to Iranians. They are security services, and they were beaten to death. And 6 of the people that have been arrested after this, James, turns out they don't belong in that country at all. Let's have a look. I think you get the general idea. Now, this has included the death of a 3-year-old girl by throwing Molotov cocktails into mosque. No Iranian in her right mind is going to do that, are they, James?
No, there is no real a true Muslim, as in a Muslim, would not ever set fire to a mosque at all. It's just it wouldn't be done. It wouldn't be done because from a Muslim perspective, if you burn a mosque, you're guaranteeing beyond any shadow of a doubt you're going to be eternally in hell. So would you do it? No. Whoever threw that Molotov cocktail was not Muslim. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we had this incident, James. I wondered what you saw about this. Have a look at this. This was driven into a bunch of pro-Ukraine, pro-Iranian protesters. First of all, shouldn't have been there. Secondly, it was obvious that he was up to no good because he'd stuck those things on the side. What's your take on this, James?
It's just wanting to incite aggravation and incite anger and cause trouble because they know it. You know, he knows what they're going to do. Yeah. I can honestly see a lot of what I'm seeing here, and it's very similar to how the situation started with Syria. And look how long that dragged on, and look at the mess that is still there. I mean, was it yesterday or the day before? I think yesterday, Israel and America were bombing Syria yet again. So it's people are being killed there. The place is still being destroyed, even though supposedly we've got a pro-democratic Israel government. And Israel's still taking more, occupying more land. So I just can't see, whether you like the Shah, not the Shah, whether you like the Ayatollah or the Iranian regime or not, it doesn't make any difference. If you change that government the way they're going to do it, tell me. Is it going to end well? And the answer has to be no. So why do it? If you can't do something better, why do it? And I can't see from the Iraq war, the Afghan war, the Syria war, where they overthrew the government in Libya. All of these countries are a complete, absolute mess. They're a shambles. And they're creating huge problems across the globe with immigration. How is this going to help? It's not going to help. It's just not.
No, it never ends well when America interferes. Nillis.
It's not going to end well. It's going to be a...
That protest, was it in Iran or was it in America?
No, that was in America. It was in America.
Right.
That's
quite,
go on.
That's quite good. They're pro-Iranian demonstrations in America that people haven't been done down, totally.
Yeah, it won't be long.
They weren't pro-regime supporters. If you look at the flag that they're waving the Shah flag, the original Iranian flag.
Yeah.
Oh, they were right. They were waving the Shah. All right, thanks.
Yeah. So let's get into this then, because they've come out. Wouldn't you know, that video won't play. But the Iranians have come out in mass protest against the people who are protesting. This is quite crazy, isn't it?
I can hear the word civil war coming to my head. I can. Honestly, Warren, I can see if Iran doesn't crush this situation of NGOs and outside foreign agents, if you like, was in trouble. If they don't crush this, there's going to be a prolonged, drawn-out civil war. If they do crush it, they're going to have a little war with America and Israel. And to be honest, I'm not being fake. If I was in charge, I'd go, you know what? I'm going to crush this, and then I'm going to do as much damage to America and Israel as I possibly can. And that would be me, because I'm a fighter. I'll go fight.
It would be me too, yeah.
I'll take as much of you with me as I can. And I would.
Absolutely that. We were talking about, and I've said this many times, if you see an aircraft carrier at the bottom of the drink, of course, it would look very, very bad for America, no matter what people say. It turns out that Rubio and Netanyahu have had another call with each other today. Nothing to see here, James, apart from possibly this. Now, this is work again from our friend Graham, who monitors everything that's going on, and he monitors a hell of a lot to do with the aeroplanes coming out of the UK and everything else. Let's have a little look at this video.
3310, clean 92. Clean 902, contact London Mail on 259 at decimal 6. Good night. 359 or decimal 6 for clean 92. Clean 902, London Mail on 259 at decimal 6. 2596, clean 92, thanks. Tabor flight, clean 92, Air Prime. 92, looking for block 26, block 280. We'll be meeting up with Tabor flight approximately at Mike Alpha Mike, and request to delay at Mike Alpha Mike, and maneuver is needed to.
Now, just to give you an idea what you're listening to here, you're listening to air traffic control and the pilots on their way to Iran, on their way to the Middle East, I should say, along with the tankers. So that's the conversation that's going on. Let's carry on with it.
Facilitate that rejoin. London Military, clean 92, heavy with request. Clean 92, just to amend our previous request, we're apparently still waiting for one of the fighters to work of issue. We are looking to delay at Mike Alpha Mike, and if able, requesting a 191 inbound right-hand turns, 1.5 minute legs. Go for Clean 92. Clean 92 copies. We're still on the hold. We're at 260. French will only take us at 260 just for the rendezvous. April. Clean 92. Clean 92. Control, Clean 92 with request. Clean 92, looking to exit the delay at Mike Alpha Mike, continue flight plan route. Clean 92, on. Request, where are you going? And Clean 92 has contact view, cleared rejoin, we're at 260, 299 and 2 set.
Now, this is aircraft that are leaving RAF Mildenhall and heading off to the Middle East along with the tankers. There are jets already there. There are tankers and more jets, as I say, already there. There are jets and tankers on their way there. James Rossi, this is imminent strikes, isn't it? No matter what Trump says. And when he says that Iran want to talk and Iran say, no, we don't, they're not going to be, when America pick up the phone and say, would you like to chat? They're not going to be fooled by that again, are they?
Not unless they're really stupid, no. But if you look, I mean, I think it was 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days ago, there was a reports of a huge amount of air traffic coming into the UK of transport air. And then a couple of days later, we had the tanker off the coast. Now, a lot of people thought that was what that was about, but the level of equipment that was coming in wasn't for that. That was a small operation compared to what was being brought in. What was being brought in was preparations for the attack on Iran. Now, I said last year that the war is the, whatever we called it, I forget, what was it, the 12-day war we called it?
12-day war, yeah.
That war wasn't the end of it, and I said that. I said they realised they couldn't do a lot with the Kinzhal missiles or the hypersonic missiles, so they're trying to work out what to do. So they've been building up their defences, getting ready for it, and they're hoping that they're going to now target. They're going to do a preemptive strike and try and target all of the missile facilities before they can be utilised and used. And that's what I think the aim will be. Take out all of the offensive abilities or capabilities of Iran that they now know they have, to neutralise them and then flatten the place. That would be the plan.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Now let's just give you a quick heads up of everything that is going on. So we'll give you a rundown of exactly what is going on now. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Akrachi accused the United States and Israel of provoking a terrorist war in Iran and placing the blame for the loss of life on the West. Participants in the unrest in Iran received instructions from abroad to shoot at people, and the videos quite clearly showed that. He noted that the authorities have now taken control of the situation regarding the protests. He also clarified that Tehran does not intend to take preemptive measures in response to threats from the US, but is fully prepared for war if necessary. So Iran is claiming full control over the protests and accusing the US and Israel of supporting them. Responsibility for casualties among protesters is placed on pro-Western provocateurs, of which they have 27 in custody and have killed at least 11. The deaths that are in Iran are being massively exaggerated, James. They're saying there's reports of 5,000 killed, 6,000 killed. There's 147.
Well, I've got to be honest, Warren. When Donald Trump, I think the original quote was not yesterday, the day before, 248 people had been killed that particular day, what Trump was saying. And he said, to humanity, it's breaking humanitarian law. Well, if you have a look at my TikTok, I'll put a response up to that. And my response is plain and simple. If that's breaking humanitarian law, then how come 68 or I think it was 67,000 dead people in Gaza isn't breaking humanitarian law, of which 1/3 are children? You tell me, tens of thousands of children killed by indiscriminate bombing is not breaking breaking humanitarian law, but killing 248 is. How's that work? Please enlighten me. I'm lost.
It does seem quite strange, doesn't it? And of course, many of these people are banging on about this. Lindsey Graham is also banging this, and of course, he's been how can I put it? He's been warmongering.
This guy, I can't stand this guy. I'll tell you now.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what he said. He's turned around and said, anybody who is in Iran or Cuba should get the hell out and sell now, because we're coming and we're not going to stop. I don't know whether you saw him attaching himself on Air Force One, attaching himself to Trump's side, limpet-like, which seemed rather fawning and.
If he gets any further up Benjamin Netanyahu's backside and Trump's backside, he'll disappear completely. As it stands, it's only his toes that are hanging out.
I think you may be spot on the money with that. Let's get into a couple of other things that are, shall we say, quite worrying and quite troubling. Of course, we've had lots and lots of nonsense. We've had Mertz with this.
Also address the developments in the not so far neighborhood in Iran. We're seeing for 2 weeks how people from all sectors of society are taking to the streets. They're protesting peacefully for freedom and a better life in their country. Not only is it their right to do that. I pay tribute to the courage with which they confront the disproportionate amount of violence, and I call upon the Iranian government and leadership to protect their citizens instead of threatening them.
This is the man, James, who has turned around and said that conscription will now take place.
Yes, I when I was listening to what he was saying, obviously being translated, I was sort of thinking, what a contradicting pile of rubbish. I'll be very polite, but I'll say this about the Iran situation. I think Iran will give as good a fight as it can. I think it will, if it's going to not be preemptive, it will. If it's going to wait for an attack, it'll get hit hard, because America, unless it's completely moved all its missile facilities and underground facilities, America knows where they are. They're going to hit them hard. They will retaliate, but unless China or Russia comes to their aid, I can't see them surviving against America and Israel. That's the facts of the facts. There's no two ways about it.
And we're going to make a big reveal here. Modi and Merz have had a meeting. And he's going to be buying oil from India, James Rossi. And that's going to be coming from Russia, of course.
Yes, I just thought that as soon as you said it, that's why I smiled. I knew exactly. Yeah. That's going to upset old Trumpety Trump, isn't it?
Isn't it ever? And of course, last year, as we revealed yesterday, the amount of oil that has been bought from Russia last year is up 76% from the previous year. So much for not having any Russian oil. They'll tell you they're not having it, but they are. And while we're on the subject, and of course, this is absolutely, should we say, hilarious. Sexual problems, drug use, and making Nazi salutes. Should we say, famous German regiments. The apple hasn't fallen from the tree here, James Rossi.
Well, I think in Germany, I remember sort of looking at this a while back when there was when a section of the German military, I think it was a German colonel, or I think it was a colonel. Him and some politicians were going to try and overthrow the government, and it got quashed very quickly a couple of years back. But I remember looking into it, and with a lot of the regiments, like if you go to a British regiment, you know yourself, you're in the army, you've got all the historic memorabilia of the famous battles, and you've got the battle honours and everything. There's a bit of pride, isn't there? Well, a lot of the battles took place in World War II, if not all of them. They're not allowed any battle honours. They're not allowed to sort of have it up. No. And it's not about, for me, I understand it because I was a soldier. It's not about Nazism or fascism. You're part of a regiment that took part in a battle, say at Stalingrad or Leningrad or whatever. And whether the regime at the time was right or wrong, your regiment suffered and men died from your regiment. I'm talking from a soldier's perspective, not from a political perspective. So, of course, if you did have a famous victory, you want to commemorate that for the men that died, the men that fell. So I kind of understand why there's a lot of upset and tension and friction within the military, and that's probably where this is partially coming from, because you can't deny history.
Yeah. So let's talk, because we haven't spoken since the idiotic Europeans put the peace deal forward. And of course, this 20-point plan that the Russians just dismissed and went, it's absolute nonsense. We're not having anything to do with that. And of course, the problem that we have, of course, is that they've also promoted should we say, the head of the SBU, Bodanov, who is an out-and-out dyed-in-the-wool Nazi. And, of course, we are talking about Zaluzhny. There is Stepan Bandera in the background, and their Nazi thing there, who is being put forward. Now, we did say that this guy, they're getting ready to put this guy in from round about the summer of 2026. And the Washington Post is now running op-eds. This is the man who's going to be the next, the next head of Ukraine. General Valery Zaluzhny's distance from Kiev, possibly in an attempt to sideline his political ambitions, has left him at a safe remove from tensions back home. And they're already floating the idea that he might be the next leader. It's a done deal.
He shouldn't be look. I mean, I know we're just talking in the previous comment about battle honours and things like that, but I'm talking about the normal army. I'm not talking about the SS. Now, if you look at Ukraine, a lot of the Ukraine Nazi symbols that they like to put on their flags are SS symbols. Now, I don't agree with that at all. SS symbols, Gestapo symbols, things like that shouldn't have anything to do with any sort of military whatsoever, and certainly shouldn't be on modern military flags or modern military day flags. So, you know, this guy, I don't think is someone that should be anywhere near that sort of position. But we know that Ukraine is in a real predicament when it comes to, shall we say, Nazis. Let's be blunt, let's not beat around them.
Yes, and let's while we're talking about people in Ukraine, let's talk about a former U.S. Marine, Trevor Reed. Now, this is a guy who got absolutely blind drunk in Russia, started wailing on a woman, got arrested by the security forces. He started wailing on them. And of course, he got thrown in jail. Then he got a prisoner swap. And of course, he decided he was, because he was so upset with the Russians for arresting him for wailing on a woman when he was blind drunk, decided he was going to sign up for mercenaries, or so they say, and he was going to go into Ukraine and fight. Well, he ended up going back in a wooden box. The more and more mercs are dying left, right, and centre. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Well, mercenaries by rule are not treated the same as normal prisoners of war, so they don't quite fall under the Geneva Convention, and that's because they're not soldiers that are fighting for their country. They're paid mercenaries. That's why they're called. And it's been known for years. We've used mercenaries. Britain, America, and France have used mercenaries in Africa for years, and the same situation happens when they're caught. They're not treated well, or they're killed. And made it perfectly clear they're not going to get treated the same way as Ukrainian prisoners of war.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a little look at this now, because this is Klitschko.
Зараз знаходимося на одному із інфраструктурних об'єктів міста Києва пошкоджені. Наші комунальники працюють день і вночі для того, щоб усунути пошкодження, для того, щоб надати теплопостачання. Складна робота. Я хочу щиро їм подякувати за всю роботу, яку вони виконують в екстремально низьких температурах, які зараз спостерігаються в нашому місті.
I hope he wasn't using a blowtorch on a gas main there. The thing I wanted to ask there, Klitschko there saying, oh, they've knocked out all the electric in Kiev, and obviously it's -10 there. But then again, they were trying to do the same thing to the Russians. And of course, we've had the Oreshnik strike as well. The bleating that is coming out from the EU is quite staggering, the hypocrisy. They're quite happy when they're dropping bombs on Russia, but the minute the Russians give them a slap, suddenly it's all hands to the pump and how terrible the Russians are.
Well, yeah. No, you're right. I noticed that. I do notice that a lot. And they don't like a taste of their own medicine. But, you know, sometimes I look at it and it does look to me in a way that it's almost as if the European leaders want war with Russia. Trump wants to take over Greenland and Venezuela and then have war with China. And it's like... and Israel wants to control the entire Middle East. You know, the only country that seems to be not really too much involved is Africa, or continent, should I say?
Yes, and of course we're going to get, and of course we've got nonsense going on in France. Let's have a little look at their idea of conscription.
Puisqu'à compter d'aujourd'hui, les jeunes filles et jeunes garçons qui souhaitent s'engager en réalisant un service national peuvent porter leur candidature. C'est un choix important pour eux, un choix important pour leur famille et dans un moment clé de leur vie. Je souhaitais les aider dans leur choix en apportant quelques compléments, même si beaucoup de choses ont été déjà soulignées, mais vous donner quelques repères pour faciliter les choix de ces jeunes filles et ces jeunes garçons. Premier point, en faisant le choix du service national, c'est participer à la protection de nos citoyens, de notre pays, dans un environnement dont on a noté qu'il était incertain. Pour ces jeunes qui s'orienteront vers le service national, c'est faire le choix d'un rôle utile, actif pour notre défense, sur le territoire français, dans l'Hexagone, mais des possibilités sont offertes également outre-mer dès l'été 2026. La mission que me confie le président de la République avec la ministre des Armées est d'assurer cette défense, cette protection. Chaque jeune qui choisira de rejoindre les armées durant 10 mois du service national aura un rôle important. Il remplira une mission identifiée. Il sera un maillon entier de nos armées. Il sera pleinement intégré dans les unités des forces. Il en fera pleinement partie. Il sera sélectionné pour cela. J'insiste sur ce point. Il sera sélectionné. Quels sont les critères? Tout d'abord, la motivation. La motivation qui s'est exprimée dans toutes les premières années d'une vie, au travers de différentes formes, dans une vie citoyenne, et qui sera confirmée lors d'un entretien avec un responsable militaire. La santé également, puisque le service de santé assurera un entretien et s'assurera que les conditions physiques sont remplies pour remplir les missions qui seront confiées à ces jeunes. Et puis, l'envie de servir dans des métiers dont nous avons besoin. Nous, armées, ils vont être développés par mes 3 chefs d'état-major d'armée, de l'armée de terre, de la marine, de l'armée de l'air et de l'espace. Mais ce sont des métiers extrêmement variés, d'opérateurs de drones, à boulanger, à commando, en protection de nos emprises, des sites stratégiques, aides-soignants, défenseurs cyber. De nombreuses possibilités vont être offertes.
Drone officers to bakers, James Rossi. This is complete nonsense, isn't it? I mean,
I love the Space Force. That got me. Well, we started, are they?
We have to excuse me. I'm taking a mint simply because I've got a bit of a cough.
But
problem we have here, though, James, don't we, is that we're going to get more and more of this nonsense. But Russia are not going to allow a peacekeeping force. It's NATO by the back door. They're not going to allow them in Ukraine in a million years.
Well, part of me, you know, how can I put it? I look at the direction we're going in with digital ID, digital currency. We do need, well, we don't, but the billionaires and the governments do need the digital reset because their spending is out of control. Trump can say what he likes about seizing countries to bring down his debt. It's not going to work. He knows it. He just wants to seize assets. And I get that from a strategic position. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it, but I understand what he's doing. But I think in order for them to achieve the change in society that is needed for the future that they want, the globalist future, the digital reset that's required, the wiping of the debts and the digital currency, there has to be a massive global conflict. Whether, you know, hopefully, I'm sure in their eyes they'll be like, hopefully it won't go nuclear, but that's what they need. And we are looking at the start of it. That's my personal opinion. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, Nillis.
Well, 10 months military service doesn't seem long, does it? But I expect they've got to sign up. Do they have to sign up to the reserves after that? I would have thought.
Well, let's put it this way, Nillis. Only takes you the average life expectancy of a Ukrainian soldier, not even in the battle, but actually going on to the front line in the battles. It's ridiculous. Or in Bakhmut, the lowest ever. Was the average life expectancy of somebody thrown into the front line was 4 hours for a basic conscript, you know, who was beaten up and thrown in. 99% of them, the Ukrainian commanders are now saying 99% of them are now people who are thrown in against their will. So the average life expectancy of someone serving on the front line is 3 days, Nillis.
Right. So that doesn't cover the 10 months then, does it?
No.
Nillis, I think the 10 months, because Warren, you know, and I know, 3 months is your basic training in the British Army. And the average training for infantry is another 9 months. That's phase two. Phase two. So it's probably just your basic training, your phase 2 training, and then you're out. So it's not that you're going to really serve time in regiment as such. You're just going to complete your training. So you are a qualified, essentially trained infantryman with no real experience. So you'll just get thrown in.
And as Nillis says, they'll probably go on the reserve list for the next 10 years. That's probably...
You'll go on than that.
probably absolutely right. That's a good call, Nillis. Let's get into this then, because there's two things I do want to ask your opinion on, James. First of all, your opinion on the shooting by the ICE officer of the lesbian in the car. Your thoughts on that?
Well, taking aside from the fact that she was a lesbian, which is neither here nor there when it comes to murdering someone, it was murder.
Okay. Because there has been a very lively discussion on here, and we won't get too much into it. We've seen some ice on ice violence. Here we go.
Biden! Why tax me,
That's ultra embarrassing when that happens to you. Should I say that wasn't great? Now, we've been long saying that Jorge Rodriguez and Delcy Rodriguez were the people who were responsible for lining up Maduro. We know all about the meetings that took place in Doha with the CIA. And of course, the other day, Jorge Rodriguez turned around and said that they were going to let out all the political prisoners. And of course, the CIA turned up to go and get them. And now we've had this from Trump about Delcy Rodriguez.
Sir, when are you meeting with Delcy to go?
At some point I'll meet. Yeah, she's been very good. Look, she asked us, can we take 50 million barrels of oil? And I said, yes, we can. It's $4.2 billion. And it's on its way right now to the United States.
So there we are, James. Delcy Rodriguez and Jorge Rodriguez, who, along with the guy who's just been promoted to the head of the presidential guard, set Maduro up for the kidnapping. Of course, they were able to go in and grab him because they knew exactly where they were going. It looks like America have pulled it off in Venezuela, or do you think it's going to get worse from here?
It depends on the people of Venezuela, whether or not they decide that they don't want it. I mean, if they rise up and kick up, then that could turn the tables completely. But it doesn't surprise me that the senior end of the government and the senior end of the military essentially have been bought out, because Warren, you know, that's the name of the game, isn't it? People sell. You know, if you offer them money, they'll sell.
Yeah, absolutely. That. I want to get into your campaign in a minute, but just wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions. So now it looks like we're going to have a BRICS Navy to escort the tankers. This is escalating nicely, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you say that, but they sent a sub out to protect the tanker off the coast of Scotland, and what happened there? Nothing. So
yeah, but it didn't get there in time.
Well, it depends. To be honest, it depends. If Russia really wants to protect its tankers with China, then they'll do something.
Yeah.
Right? Because let's be honest, I'll tell you now for a fact, Trump is not bluffing. Trump will board every one of them tankers, and if you don't do anything to stop him, like they didn't before, he will get more and more emboldened and do it more and more time. And I'll promise you that with Trump. Trump is dangerous in a lot of respects. Okay, there's no two about it. If he thinks he can get away with it, he's honestly considering invading a NATO ally country in Greenland. He's actually going to do it, possibly put military boots on the ground. And if we've got British troops there, we're not going to fire. I promise you that. We would not fire on American troops. It will just be a complete farce. Okay, so he will not stop unless someone stops him. So if the Russians and Chinese are serious, they'll stop him. But if they call his bluff, they're going to lose.
Yeah. So let's get into this then, James. Your thoughts on AI, ChatGPT, and all the rest of it. The problem that we've got, of course, is Grok, which is massively pro-Israeli and pro.
Have you heard about the naked pictures?
I have, yes, and we've got a couple of examples for you. There is a trend out there. Of course, people have been asking people to put Keir Starmer in a bikini, and of course, Grok has been doing that, and people have then been posting it, going, "It's not my fault; it's Grok's fault." Honestly. But people have been quite creative. Here's Keir Starmer. Quite, and of course, everybody is saying that Grok needs to be taken down. But it's not the worst one. I've had a good look through to see the worst ones I could possibly find. And go on.
We've got one of Trump in a bikini.
No, I haven't got one of Trump in a bikini, but I've got one that is borderline. How on earth they got away with posting this online, I don't know. But here's the winner. This is obviously the cocaine on the train picture, where they've stuck some Ukrainian boys. Those three on there. That's absolutely the winner by a country mile. I've got to say.
I honestly would not doubt the fact that senior politicians do sniff cocaine. I won't name any names, but I know of a DC. He was head of a drugs unit, and he used to siphon off 10 to 20% of whatever he confiscated, and they would have drugs parties, him and his mates, coppers, every weekend. And I know this because I know his wife very, very well.
James, talk to me about your campaign for getting elected to council. Where are you standing? How's it going? And what's the feedback so far?
Well, at the moment, it's going very well. Feedback from the public, bearing in mind we're not doing too much door knocking. A lot of it over Christmas was leafleting, getting as many leaflets through as many doors as possible, because we've got one of the largest wards in the UK. We've got the largest ward in Brent. I think we've got 7,000 to 8,000 residents, so it's quite a large ward. So we're about 4,000 or 5,000 leaflets down now, so we're getting through it nicely. We're going to start door knocking, because we wanted to get the leaflets out so you know who we are. Obviously, I've got my little WhatsApp page, which I'm using, not WhatsApp, TikTok. I've got TikTok and a WhatsApp, which I'm using for social media activities. And so is my partner in crime, Asif Samir. He's doing quite well. He's doing a lot of, because he works within the community, he's self-employed as a learner driver. He's got his own business, so he can take time off whenever he wants in the community, and he's walking around highlighting a lot of faults. But the feedback I'm getting from the public is that they're not interested in politicians. They're not interested in politics, but they are very interested in two residents who are independent of any party who are standing. So, yes, it's to be honest, it's looking good. It is looking good. It's not a done deal, obviously. Nothing is a done, but it's looking good.
No, never take anything for advantage. I'll take it you'll be having town halls.
I've got Labour. Are worried, and this is a Labour stronghold, and I know they're worried.
Good. I think that is excellent. And of course, you're up against the usual suspects, and the usual suspects are as bent as a 9-bob note. The problem that you'll face, James, is obviously it's going to be word of mouth. Are you going to have a few town halls where people can ask you questions on local issues and stuff?
Yeah, we are going to be doing meetings. Funnily enough, online a few questions have come up. So, like, you know, what do you hope to achieve that other that Labour haven't achieved? And one of the things that Labour haven't achieved is
that gives you a huge scope.
Well, yeah, but they see what it is Labour councillors generally don't do an awful lot. So, for argument's sake, I'll give you an example. I'm chairman of the ward, Asif's vice chairman. Yeah, in the last year, a Labour councillor turned up once, and that was the last meeting, right? And he turned up just for the hello. This is the start of the meeting, blah, blah, blah. And within 5 minutes, he was out the door and gone. And I actually turned around halfway through talking and went, where is the Labour councillor that was here? Oh, he had to go. But they don't come to the meeting. They don't take part. And these are meetings where we're discussing crime figures in the area. We're discussing local business and what's going on with local business, what's happening with the youth in the area, just generally talking about everything to do with it. And they're not there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Thank you very much for that, James. What is the ward you're standing in, and when is the election?
It's Brent, Stonebridge, Brent, and the election, if I remember correctly, is the 7th of May, 2026.
Okay. We can only wish you the very best, and of course, we will give you every support we can here. Nillis.
Well, I don't know if you can still do it, but a good tip is to put your own seal on every ballot box, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we've had Nick Griffin on here, and he said he only won the election because he put his own seal on the ballot boxes, and so they couldn't be interfered with.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, yeah.
Make sure you do that, James, because there's any amount of skullduggery can go on there.
I will actually be at the count like I was last time. I will be personally there overseeing that count.
But of course, what they can do is open some of the boxes in some of the polling places and start taking them out. So I would literally have somebody at every single station putting a seal on the box when it's about to go. JD, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I was just looking through TikTok just now to see where James Rossi's one. I see one written James and Asif, but I don't know which one to follow.
That's my political. That's going to be my political page. Yes, that's mine.
Yeah. Okay. Which one does he follow? He can see two people there. Which one's he following?
Oh, it's the
political one.
One page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Ghost of a Journal? It's not there.
I think he's up on. I think he's going to be up on TikTok in the next week or so.
Okay.
But pretty on there.
The work in progress, that Warren.
Yeah, I think it is. Let's James. Where can people find you on your social media?
Well, you can find me on Twitter, James Rossi. You can find me, obviously, Gentleman Concerned has just found me on TikTok. I've also got another TikTok as well, if you're interested, which is Bus Drivers in London, which is predominantly about what's going on in the bus industry. If there's any strikes or anything happening there, you're going to hear about it there first. Facebook, James Rossi, quite big on Facebook, got about 5,000 followers. And also I'm on Instagram. Yeah, James Rossi there as well. So I get about.
James, thank you so much. I know you're extremely busy. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. And obviously we wish you all the best and we'll see you again soon, hopefully.
You will. I'll be, Warren, if possible, I'll be back on Saturday.
Absolutely. Saturday we don't have a show, buddy. So you mean Friday night? Are you meaning Friday night or Sunday?
No, I'm off on Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a one day I do have off. Thanks ever so much for being with us, James. Please go and give James a follow. And if you're living in James's area where you can vote, this is the guy to vote for. You don't want to be voting for a political party unless you want disappointment in your life. You have enough of that already. James, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
No problem. Thank you very much. Look after yourselves, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, James. Cheers. You can fall out now.